You are now listening to CTR Media Network.
The family. CTR Media Network. Yeah. Best in the biz. Yeah. Join the team. CTR is who we are, the media network, that's the best by far. Whether you listen at your home, at your job, in your car, come get the information that's needed above par. Never lasting, motivational podcasting, giving you the answers to the questions that you're asking. Serious talks and topics, how to come up and profit, how to better yourself. Your health is here, we got it. Reaching 350 million, they tuning in. We in 50 different countries, we all can. And like-minded, find your purpose and your assignment. Come get your fix, your feel, your mental alignment. Get active and speak to the masses. Build your influence all levels and all classes. Now you know you can monetize and grow. CTR Media Network, start the show. CTR Media Network.
Welcome everyone to CTR Media Network TV, where we're unlocking the secrets behind smart payroll, business growth, and IRS protection with a man who's done it all. Charles Reed is a certified public accountant, U.S. tax court practitioner, a military veteran, and the founder of GetPayroll. With over 400 media appearances alone and decades of financial expertise, he is the go-to expert for small business owners who want to stay compliant and grow fast. He also the author of the Payroll Book, a must-read guide for entrepreneurs who want to do payroll right and avoid costly mistakes. So I want you to buckle up for this episode because Charles is going to help us save time, save money, and be less stressed with payroll power moves, IRS hacks, and scaling to 7 figures. Charles, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Yes. When I read what you do, I was like, okay, we have entrepreneurs that watch our show every single week, and we're learning as we grow in entrepreneurship, and as you expand, you start doing payroll and doing things that you never did before. Then you have different taxes when you get into different tax brackets. And so I'm so excited to have you here today. And when I look at your journey from serving as a Vietnam veteran to serving entrepreneurs through financial leadership, how would you say these experiences shape your success as a business owner?
Well, there's a lot that transfers well from the military to business. A lot of people who hire in the business world don't understand that. One of the things I learned as an NCO in the Marine Corps is leadership. And a definition that's used in the Corps is mission, min, self. You accomplish the mission at whatever the cost, whatever it takes. Then you take care of your men. Then you take care of yourself. That translates very, very well to business. Okay. Our job as GetPayroll is to provide perfect payroll on time, every time for our clients. We bend over backwards to do that. Then I take care of my staff. I take care of my clients. I make sure they're as happy as possible. I make my employees' life as efficient and easy as possible to get the work done so they stay happy. We have almost no turnover. And then and only then do I take care of myself. In the beginning, if it came down to who got paid, I got paid last. That's what an entrepreneur has to do. And you have to take care of your people, because I couldn't have done this without my staff. So, I'm not a solo entrepreneur anymore. When it was just me and the wife, it was one thing, but now I have a staff and I have to take care of them. If I don't, I'll lose my business. It's that simple. Now, there's some things in the military that don't transfer well to business. The military is very hierarchical, and everybody either jumps for someone or they jump for them. And that doesn't translate well. And thank heavens my wife was a people person and broke me of some of those habits.
Yes. When I think about the transition or I would say the parallels between being in the military and then taking those skills to entrepreneurship. I can really hear how it actually helped you, but then also at the latter end, having your wife being able to help you on things that it didn't quite do for you. You know, she was like, wait a minute. You're dealing with civilians. You're not in combat anymore now. So it's good to have that better half. But you're right. As a business owner, when you first start out, you are a solopreneur. Most people are a solopreneur. But when you start scaling and growing, you have to think about your employees, your clients, your customers first. And you're right. We tend to get paid last because we need them to keep the business running. So I appreciate you just breaking that down. And we have quite a bit of veterans that watch the show. So they're going to be doing all the different things when they see other veterans come on the show. They're going to be so happy. But anyway, when I think about payroll, that is something that many entrepreneurs, we get a little nervous about because we're thinking about taxes, we're thinking about the IRS. And in your opinion, say, for example, someone received an IRS notice from their business, what should they do now?
Okay. First thing to do is read it and understand it. If you don't understand it, get with your CPA so you fully understand what they're asking for. Always respond to a notice. If you respond to a notice and you get the same one 2 weeks later, respond to it again. Even if it's just a matter of taking a copy of your first response, marking it copy and sending it back to them. Don't ever let notices go unresponded to, because some of them can get you into trouble if you don't respond. Okay? So always respond. Always know that there's all kinds of levels of appeals within administratively within the IRS and then into the courts if necessary. So don't take no for an answer. If the IRS sends you a notice and is proposing a penalty, and you think they're wrong, and you send a letter back to them saying, you're wrong, you should abate this penalty, they won't. The first letter, you will get a response from them saying, no. It's a canned response. Don't take it personally. They're just going to send out the canned response saying no. Your second letter, they will probably say no. On your third letter going to the appeals coordinator, you may get a real response rather than just a canned response. And then you go up the ladder through various series of appeals and talk to people, because it's a whole series of no's followed by a single yes. If you get anybody along the line to say, yeah, that makes sense, we'll go ahead and abate it, you're done. Say thank you, don't argue anymore, and go away. So always answer those. Now, frankly, if it's $7, right, wrong, or indifferent, just pay it. It doesn't matter. You'll probably get it back in 2 years anyway. Okay? Now, if it's more, understand the IRS makes millions of mistakes every year. Guys, I'm here. I've got construction going on at the house. I apologize. The IRS makes millions of mistakes every year. There are 100,000 civil servants that are dealing with technology, in some cases going back to the 1960s. We get problems from the IRS constantly that are created by their systems and people and paperwork. During COVID, they lost returns. They lost truckloads of returns and filings. We have seen electronic filings, be misapplied. How you misapply an electronic filing is beyond me, but it happens. So don't assume they're correct. Don't assume the IRS is right, because they make millions of mistakes every year. About half the penalties they place get abated, and we're talking billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars of penalties that get reversed because they're wrong. So don't assume that whatever the IRS says is right. If you don't understand it and can't reply to it intelligently, get your CPA. In payroll, get your payroll provider who should have a CPA, and in the case of GetPayroll, a U.S. tax court practitioner on staff to handle these things. We handle them for our clients as a matter of course. As a CPA, I take a 2848, which is a limited power of attorney, which allows me to advocate for my clients. My competitors don't do that because it requires them taking professional responsibility. And most of my competitors will not take on professional responsibility for their actions. I will as a CPA.
Wow. So for those individuals who don't understand what a CPA is, could you tell them what that is?
Sure. CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. That means that I have a master's degree with 50 hours of accounting, and I have passed probably the most difficult professional exam showing that I am competent in the areas of accounting and tax that business is going to deal with. Now, there are poor CPAs out there. Don't misunderstand me. There's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad CPAs. But a CPA has demonstrated to the governing body that they understand a large body of information dealing with accounting. So, your bookkeeper, your accountant who's not a CPA may be perfectly fine. I don't know. But a CPA is very likely to be able to do it. But make sure you find one that you can deal with. We tend to be nitpickers. We tend to not be very social because, to us, it's the balance sheet that matters. It's the income statement. It's the numbers, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts. So find one you can deal with, find one that you can talk to, find one that will explain to you in words you understand what your financial statements are telling you that they prepare, what the IRS is saying to you, and what they mean by it. Because what they say and what they mean can, in many cases, be two different things.
That was powerful for the simple fact that, going back to what you said prior to this, when you were speaking about if you do receive that notice from the IRS, the automatic initial thing that we feel as an entrepreneur is panic. What's happening? Oh no, my business, they're trying to take my business. All kind of little things may go through your mind. But what I like, you gave us the steps and you letting us know the process that we should always respond to a IRS tax notice. Even if they send us something that's a duplicate of what we already sent in, we need to keep responding, maybe give them a copy of what we already responded to, and understanding that a lot of the responses are those no need to reply kind of things that we get when we get emails. It's automatic. And so giving us the process, it lessens the stress if an entrepreneur received their first tax notice or anything like that, to know what we need to do. So thinking about that, to piggyback off of that, you talk about 5 tips that we need to avoid when we start hiring in employees, when we're doing so we can avoid employment tax penalties. So what are those 5 tips that you would tell us, or even 3, just to let us know, like, once we start hiring in these employees, how can we avoid these this employment tax penalties?
Okay, we'll want to talk about hiring and classification in a minute. But the 5 things that I talk about are, first of all, arithmetic errors are the most common thing penalized. Don't do it by hand. If you got to do it by hand, use a calculator and double check your numbers. Okay, preferably use a computer and a computer program that does it automatically, though I have seen some of those fail as well. But make sure your numbers are right. Make sure you add, subtract, and multiply correctly. That's the biggest source of penalties. The next ones are, you need to know what you need to file and when you need to file it. Because one of the big problems entrepreneurs have is they don't know what they don't know. So if you don't know, not think, but know what you need to file for all your employment purposes, find out. And then find out when you have to file it. Because if you are 1 second late, In some cases, there's a 5% penalty for 1 second. In some cases, for instance, in Texas on your unemployment report, if you fail to file that, even if you owe no money, it's a $50 fine. It's ridiculous. Then know what you have to deposit, what that money is, how much of it's coming from your employees, how much of it's coming from you, and when you have to deposit it. Because again, if you're a second late, there can be a penalty. And, you know, I'll be honest, the first one, you can probably ask for an abatement and they'll give it to you for the first one. The second one, they'll go, no. And you'll have to pay it. So keep that first one as long as you possibly can to when you really screw up. And then you ask for that abatement on that first one, and you'll probably get it. But if you do it regularly, you won't get them. So those are the 5 things that you really need to be aware of. Now, the next big thing you need as aware of is
mentioned abatement. What is an abatement for those that don't know what that is?
Abatement is just basically they reverse it and say no follow.
Okay.
Okay. And abatement just means they're going to reverse it and say you don't owe it.
Oh, okay.
That's again why I say if you don't understand what the letter says, ask somebody who does, because IRS and tax is a technical language, and some of the words mean things that they don't mean in normal parlance as we would use on a day-to-day basis. So you need to make sure you understand what they're saying and what they mean by it. And if you don't know, ask somebody who does.
I agree. And you was getting ready to mention some more tips or maybe something else in regards to employment tax and penalties.
Right. Well,
before I interject it.
Classification. When you hire people, the entrepreneurs, we love to hire people as contractors because then we don't have taxes to pay and we don't have forms to file and so on and so forth. That's not a choice. There's a whole body of law that determines whether that person is a contractor or an employee. And that law changes. The Obama administration changed it. The first Trump administration changed it. The Biden administration changed it. I'm assuming the Trump new administration is going to change it. So if you're not up to speed on what that is, you need to talk to someone who is. And if you misclassify people, that's either contractor versus employee or hourly versus salary, the penalties can be huge. Okay, because if it's hourly versus salary and you're not paying overtime and they come in and determine that person's hourly, not salary, and they were working 50 hours a week, well, you now owe them 10 hours of overtime for every week they worked. Plus penalties and interest and all kinds of other things, plus taxes. It's, you know, it can be a snowball effect, and it can put you out of business. It literally can if you're not careful. And a lot of people play fast and loose with this. The Labor Department estimates that 70% of employers misclassify at some point. 70%. So it can be very expensive. So if you're not sure, get with somebody who really understands what that is and how it works and talk to them.
I mean, you know, you just said something that was a mouthful. 70% of us could be literally putting bankrupting our businesses because we are not classifying our people correctly, the ones that's working for us. And the thing is, when you said that it changed from the Obama administration, from the Bush, and now we don't know what it possibly could be with Trump now. And so what once was might not be today, and you find yourself in a situation that could wreak havoc on your business with enormous penalties because you just simply made a mistake in the classification of the people who work. Why? You know, we're not thinking about this. We're like, okay, I just need to get somebody to help, you know, do this, do that. And we're not even thinking about, it makes sense though, because if you're trademarking your business, if you're copywriting, everything has a classification with the government. So it makes sense now that you're speaking about it, that the tax code should have classifications for how we hire and different people, right? So it's just like, okay, that was common, but it wasn't so common until you said, I was like, wait a minute, I need to go look up this code myself. You know, so with most businesses, what must a new business do to make sure that they stay tax compliant? Because you mentioned all these different things. So what do we need to do to stay tax compliant?
If you don't know it, if you're not a CPA, you need to talk to one. You need to have a CPA that you trust, that you talk to, that advises you on these things, and listen to them. Now, if you don't like that CPA, find another one. But entrepreneurs, and I'm one, I started my own business. Okay. We think we can do something better, faster, cheaper, and we can make a living doing it, make a good living. And a lot of us do, and some of us do on the second or third or fourth time, and some of us never do. And it's not for everybody. But the analogy I use is when I grew up, Pele was the world's best soccer player. Wonderful athlete, tremendous soccer player. But if you took him and you put him in a New York Yankees uniform at second base, he would be lost. He doesn't know the game. He doesn't know the rules. Pick up the ball with your hands. You know, he'd still be a great athlete. So if you take a business person who provides a service or a product and is successful and knows what they're doing and is growing and creating and hiring, and now you say, deal with the IRS. They're Pele at second base. They don't know what they don't know. They're still a great business person, but now they're dealing in a whole nother ballpark with a whole new set of rules. So if you're not familiar with them, get a coach, get somebody who can teach you, get a mentor, get somebody who can advise you on all these. Now, I'm going to give you one more piece of advice with that. CPAs are advisors. CPAs, lawyers, doctors want to run your life, want to tell you how to do things. Don't let them. Listen to their advice and work with it, but they don't run your business. Don't let them. We like to do that kind of thing. We like to be in control. So don't let us. It's not our business. It's your business. You need to run it, but you need to listen to what we tell you and then operate it within your own business and make your own decisions.
Great advice. So what would you say? I see this thing called PEOs, and you say it sucks, but you didn't tell me what the PEO is. So why do it suck, Charles?
Okay. PEO is Professional Employer Organization. It's the rebranding of staff leasing. When staff leasing got a bad name because of all the tax fraud that was going on, the industry changed their name so they weren't being branded with all the felonies and the fraud that had been going on. PEOs are very expensive. Nobody buys one. People who have it are sold one. There are almost no circumstances where a PEO is better for a business. They want to sell you a Cadillac insurance plan, which they make lots of money off of. And when you have HR problems, they really don't have anybody to solve it for you. When Sally is breaking up with her boyfriend, she's not going to go cry on the PEO shoulder. She's going to come to the boss and cry on his shoulder. So what they tell you they're going to do for you, they can't and won't. So beware. It's very expensive. Again, talk to your CPA. We take a lot of our clients out of PEOs because we show them. I had a client, it was imaging center, and one of the doctors who was one of the owners had a golfing buddy who was now a PEO salesman and said, I can do all these wonderful things for you. So we sat down with the administrator of the practice. We went through the whole thing, and it was going to be at least $300,000 a year more for the PEO for 125 employees. Okay. He screamed and shouted and yelled at us and left. And the doctor lost a golfing buddy, but they did not switch over, not for an extra $300,000 a year. The golfing buddy was not worth that much money.
Yeah, I agree. You talk about you talk about this hidden tax credit for paid time off, which is like a 45S.
This is a nice one. If you pay your employees time off, and it's time off for what would otherwise be a Family Leave Act, okay? FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, which means taking care of a sick child, a sick husband, adoption, taking care of your own illnesses. If you pay your employees for that and they make under $70,000 a year and they've been with you a year, the IRS will give you up to a 25% tax credit for those dollars that you pay out. So you pay Sally $100 because she stayed home sick that day, you can get a $25 tax credit that you can use on your taxes. And if you're an S Corp, it goes through to your personal return.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
You need to know what it is. You need to keep track of it. And there's a couple of restrictions. But you know, I tell my clients, if Sally says she needs a personal day off for mental health, I consider that Family Medical Leave Act acceptable because it's for medical purposes. So I take those for tax credit too. Now, the IRS might argue about that one, but they've never asked about it so far. So.
Hey, Think fam, it's your favorite host, Michael Finkley, and you can listen to us on CTR Media Network. Go listen in.
Thank you so much, CTR Media Network, Dr. Tina Ramsay, along with the staff of CTR Media Network and all of the podcasters that have programs featured on CTR Media Network. I'm Kim Jacobs, the host of The Kim Jacobs Show, and we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. It is such an honor and a privilege to be able to be associated with Dr. Tina Ramsay and her program with CTR Media Network. They go over and beyond the call of duty and do exceptionally well when it comes to the podcasters. I'm saying things that are like, pooh, mind-blowing. They are exceeding our expectations, and I cannot be more grateful and more thankful. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for all of your professionalism, your consideration, going the extra mile to make sure that your podcasters have what we need to be able to have a thriving program and to get exposed to over 350 million households, 46 countries. I am excited to be a part of CTR Media Network, and I don't take it for granted. Thank you, Dr. Tina Ramsay, for all that you do. God bless you.
Wow.
If you pay time off for your people, know why they're taking time off. And if it's an FMLA reason, you can get tax credit.
Wow. So with all these tips and strategies that you'll be giving us with pretty much the tax code, the IRS, and all of that, and you were talking about payroll, do you by any chance can help us with the payroll? Because I mean, when I first introduced you, I heard this thing called GetPayroll. So I need you to just like go into detail about how you can help us, because we don't know. Like, we don't know.
Absolutely. We're a payroll provider. We provide payroll services throughout the United States, in all the states in the district. So all you have to do once you're set up is tell us how many hours your hourly people worked, and if your salary people worked that week. We take care of everything else. We calculate the payroll, we calculate the deductions, we send the money to the states, to the local organizations where need be, to the federal government. We file all your forms on a timely basis. And if we screw up, we take responsibility for it. So,
Wow.
we don't screw up very often, but I'm not going to claim perfection.
Oh, nobody's perfect.
I'd even strike me dead, I think, if I did.
Yeah, no one is perfect. But the fact that what makes you stand apart, other than the things that you just mentioned, but in my opinion, when you mentioned earlier about having that CPA, you're being a certified CPA and being able to help on things that other payroll systems or companies are not doing. So could you talk about go into a little bit more detail based upon what makes you different from the other people? Because you said it before, but I just want you to iterate it because this is important.
Well, I'm a CPA, so I take the 2848. I sign the
Mhm.
returns for you. I take responsibility for them. But our unique selling proposition is compliance. We make sure you're compliant. And when the IRS screws up, and they will, 40% of small businesses get penalized for employment taxes every year, 40%. So if you weren't penalized last year or the year before, you're going to get penalized this year. We solve those problems. When the IRS sends you a letter, they send a copy to us. In many cases, by the time you've opened up that letter and call and say, Charles, I got this letter, I'm going, yeah, and I've already solved the problem. Okay? Because we get the letter and we get the notices and we take care of them. That's what we're really good at. I mean, all of our competitors, for the most part, do a reasonably good job of preparing a paycheck, or they'd be out of business. But when you have a problem with the IRS or the state revenue department or the state unemployment department or the local tax department, they can't talk to them like we can. They can't negotiate with them like we can. They can't advocate for you like we can. We do it day in and day out. We're professionals at it. I've been doing this for a third of a century.
Wow.
I deal with the IRS all the time. In many cases, our staff knows more than the IRS does because we do this all the time. We have an unlimited training budget. The IRS doesn't. We don't get transferred department to department to department within the IRS. We deal with employment taxes. We deal with them every day. We don't have turnover. And frankly, I think we hire better people than the IRS does, but that may be a matter of opinion. I think if you look at a ranking of all the jobs available in the United States, working for GetPayroll ranks substantially above working for the IRS.
Wow. So that really differentiates you from other payroll companies. In my opinion, just from hearing you guys put that personal touch. You're very customer centric on making sure that we have that advocacy, that support when something may happen, because when you're doing entrepreneurship, like you said, the laws, the taxes, the things can change and you can find yourself in peril once you get that notice. And I feel like just about every bank, not every bank, every business owner may possibly receive one in their business lifetime, or if not many. And just to have someone on your side to kind of be like, okay, don't panic. Let's just follow the steps. Let us handle it for you. Now, for those, go ahead.
And we don't cost anything more than our competitors do. We just offer more services. We care. One quick example. I called one day just on a lark, called ADP and asked to speak to the president. And the switchboard operator said, the president of what? So we went through it and I talked to a number of people and they finally told me that the president of ADP did not have a phone. And I said, you're telling me that the president of a multi-billion-dollar corporation does not have a phone on his desk? Well, he may, but we can't access it. When you call GetPayroll, if you're not happy with what one of our CSR says, and you're not happy with their boss, that's Chris Boyce, he's head of operations, ask for Charles. If I'm in the office, I'll take the call. If not, I'll call you back. And you can talk to the boss.
Wow, now that's the personal touch. Like they say, the Midas touch. That's the touch right there. I like it. So when we have like so many different business owners. We're hearing about tax codes and everything like that, which you gave us so much clarity on it. But what if, have you ever seen a case where a business entity they picked the wrong type of entity for their business? Instead of doing just a regular LLC, they're doing an S Corp when they shouldn't be an S Corp or a C Corp. And does that cost you more when you make those mistakes with your taxes?
Yes, it can. There are tax advantaged entities and there are non-tax advantaged entities. And yes, people make mistakes in that choice. They get talked into it for bad advice. They get talked into it because the lawyer makes more money doing one form rather than another of entity form. So yes, people make mistakes and people get talked into bad choices. Talk to your CPA. Most cases for entrepreneurs and small businesses, an S Corp is a desirable entity. There are some downsides to it. There's an extra return, but there's some tax advantages that you don't have as a sole proprietor, which should cover the costs, the extra costs that are associated with being it. If your revenue is under $10,000 and you don't have any real liability, be a sole proprietor. It's simple, it's easy. You just file your Schedule C on your 1040. But if you have liability, that LLC that files as an S Corp or an S Corp itself gives you liability protection. It's the cheapest insurance policy you will ever buy if you get sued. Okay? Because your personal assets are all protected. Your house, your car. If you're a sole proprietor and they sue you, they can take everything. If you incorporate, they can only take the assets of the corporation, and your CPA will teach you how to keep those assets to a minimum, so that are exposed to a potential lawsuit. And we're in a litigious society. You probably will get sued. So, anybody can sue anybody for anything at any time, and they do.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is this: when you are just a standard LLC, you're really a sole proprietor. You're not really you haven't took the destination of an S Corp or a C Corp.
You're a limited liability company, which gives you the liability protection. It doesn't give you the tax advantages if you're a disregarded entity for tax purposes. That's where you need to file a 2553 election as an S corporation, which you can do as an LLC. And that gives you the tax advantages. And that can save you thousands of dollars a year in taxes, literally. Okay. And you'll pay a few hundred for that extra tax return. Again, that's a whole an hour to go through that. But your CPA can work with you on that and tell you. We tell our clients in almost every case that they're better off being a S corporation for tax purposes, either an LLC filing as an S corp or an S corp directly. Of all my clients, I have one partnership. Okay, and they've been there since the very beginning, so they're not going to change.
Well, thank you so much for breaking down, the LLC and the S Corp, and letting us know about, maybe if you haven't already considered doing that, you need to get you a CPA and talk with them about what you need to do for your business, your entity or entities, because we have people that have more than one business. So you mentioned how you was able to grow your business from 1K to 7 figures. In a nutshell, what do we have to do if we want to lay the foundation to be able to grow from 1K to 7 figures?
I'm going to assume that all your listeners provide a quality service or product. That's the first thing. The next thing is marketing. The old saw that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door, though you live in the darkest forest, is bunk. Nobody's going to come find you. I don't care how good your mousetrap is. If you don't get it out there and stick it in their face and say, here, look at me, I'm better, cheaper, faster, easier, whatever, they're not going to come find you. Our growth accelerated when, as you said, as an entrepreneur, you start out, you do everything. As you grow, you delegate things. And when I finally delegated marketing, because I thought I knew how to market, okay? I finally got so busy with so many things, I hired a marketing manager.
Mm-hmm.
And it took less than 2 weeks for her to show me that I don't know how to market my way out of a paper bag.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm a CPA. I should have known better, but I didn't. I thought I could do that. I mean, I'm a Renaissance man, right? I can do that.
I mean, Charles, you're not by yourself. So many of us, because we know our business so well that surely we can market our own business. Surely we can tell them about our vision. And let me tell you, more than likely, we don't know what we're doing. And it takes someone from the outside looking in that can see the nuances and I would say the gaps that we have in our marketing strategy. And some entrepreneurs, sad to say, don't even have a marketing strategy. And marketing is the key, because who's gonna purchase your services or become your client if they don't even know that you exist, or if you don't have a clear message where they can actually be able to understand the messaging that you're putting out. And so I had to learn too. I was like, well, I know what I'm talking about. No, but I had to get somebody. I had to get a branding marketing person. I had to get a coach. I had to get a media. I had to do all that stuff. And I thought I knew something. You hear what I say? But I didn't know what I thought I knew. And so you're right. We need to understand our strengths and be aware of our weaknesses, and don't allow pride to stop us from asking or listening for help, because someone else knows more than you. Trust and believe, and someone else knows more than me. Make sure that they're on your team at the end of the day.
I mean, I'm an expert at employment tax law. I mean, I'm a U.S. tax court practitioner. I take tax court cases to tax court and prosecute them as if I were an attorney, even though I'm not, because I'm licensed through the tax court to do that. I have a bar card through the tax court. It's gonna be hard for me to find somebody who knows that better. But there's a lot of things, and marketing is one of my learned, that there are people who are far, far better at me, and you need to backstop your weaknesses with people that are better at it. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to hire the smartest person in the room.
That part. That part. I had to learn that again the hard way as well. And so I always look for people. That's why I invited you on the show, because you smarter than me dealing with this. I'm like, the prerequisite for this show, speak smarter than me. Know something that I don't know, because I'm not a jack of all trades. Anybody that I hear say, I'm a jack of all trades, I'm like,
Yeah.
And you're not mastering none.
That's the problem with entrepreneurs. We think we are. And we're probably real good at something, but we're not real good at everything.
No, we're not. And the sooner we recognize that, the more quicker we can grow and expand our business by bringing in people who are smarter than us to be able to take the load off. I mean, it's so good having people that work for you, that understands and really good at what they do and enjoy that, because many times as entrepreneurs, you're doing a whole lot of things that you don't even enjoy just for the sake of you want to save $1. No, hire the people, pay them so that you can breathe easy, have a life.
And this is one of the things about outsourcing payroll. It's a pittance. And if you look at the time, let alone the money you save by outsourcing it, the money, the time that you have then to work on your business is worth many, many, many times the cost of the payroll service. And in most cases, we make our clients money by saving them from penalties and interest and gaffes that they would otherwise make. We're not money out, we're money in. in for almost all of our clients. So the even if you look at it strictly from a cost basis, the amount of time you save by not having to do it and not having to put up with the IRS and the states and everything else and not making mistakes and having that time to work on your business, that's solid gold.
I 1000% agree with you. And Charles, thank you so much for sharing all of this amazing information with us. This is an episode that you're definitely going to have to rewatch over and over with a notebook, with a pen and some paper. And I encourage you guys to go and get his book, the Payroll Book, the guide for small businesses and startups, because he dig deep on this episode. Yeah. But it's more in the book. So you're going to need to watch this and then read through the book. And also stop doing it by yourself. Stop doing it by yourself. Go to his business. Let them do the heavy lifting for you. Who want to deal with taxes? Not me. I mean, I want to deal with it when they're giving me a return, or something like that. But other than that, I don't understand that language. It's foreign to me. So it's not foreign to Charles and his staff. They live in it. So go over there, let them do that payroll so you can go and do what you love doing, which is running your business or doing whatever it is that your vision of your business is. You can, like he said, you can work in your business. You can do the things that you enjoy instead of doing things that you don't enjoy. And as we learn, some of those mistakes can cost you it could be a healthy fine, a healthy penalty. And we need to keep all of our capital as much as we can at the end of the day. So, Charles, is there anything else you would like to say to our viewing and listening audience? You have an event or anything going on?
What I would like to do is if they will go to the payrollbook.com, the website, enter the discount code podcast, we will ship them free of charge, no shipping, no handling, free of charge, a copy of the book as long as supplies last.
What?
Yeah. Because I'll be honest, when they read it and they go, God, I need help, our phone number's in the book.
Because it's over our head. Now, that's good marketing, in case y'all didn't pick that up. Now, that's good marketing. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Because, wow, Charles. Thank you so much. So we definitely, listen, do not blow up the emails and everything. We're going to have it in the description of the video. We're going to drop it in the comments. We're going to have it everywhere so you guys can go in and get the book while supplies last, including myself. I'm going to come back and I'm going to be reading some of it myself, not reading it online because you got to get it from him. But I'm talking about showing you that I actually have it in my hands, because at the end of the day, payroll is not my thing. And I don't claim and I don't ascribe for it to become my thing. That is not my thing. And so that's why I really wanted Charles to come on the show today, because when I did my research on him, I was like, this man knows his stuff. Like, he really knows what he's talking about. You know, we have people out there that I say they talk it, that they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And Charles really knows about the payrolls and the intricacies of how to make your life easier, because you want to grow, you want to expand, and you can't do that without making sure you're right with the IRS and doing the payroll the correct way. Okay. So you guys have a great, amazing rest of your day. Charles, thank you for being on the show today. And thank you for that amazing free gift that literally, I'm so glad you got your phone number in the book, because they're going to need it. All of us going to need it at the end of the day, because this is not something that we do. Have you heard about Book Authority's best new podcasting book winner, which is Dr. Tina J. Ramsay, for her book, The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcasting Success. This book is your podcasting coach in a book. She is sharing so many strategies. This book reached #1 twice on Amazon for new release and best-selling book. So go ahead to CTRMediaNetwork.com to purchase your copy today, or simply place your order on Amazon.com today and unleash the power of podcasting.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.